Welcome to Power Your Profits podcast, your friendly guide in bringing your business revenue to the next level. Listen as host Susie Carder hears inspiring stories of success from her fellow entrepreneurs and transformational leaders. Prepare to make significant change to your strategies as they unravel the secrets of building multi-million-dollar businesses and the most effective tips on finance, marketing, and sales accountability. If you want to make your first step towards explosive business growth, this is the right podcast for you. Without further ado, here is your host, Susie. Welcome to this episode of Power Your Profits. My name is Susie Carder and I am your host, and I am so excited to bring you my guest. I know I'm always excited, but Debbie Hoffman is a heart-centered sales and follow-up strategist, expert, and founder of Power Up Your Follow-Up. How perfect is that? She's a relationship-driven coach, and she works with network marketers, heart-centered coaches, and letting potential clients and income. She sees potential clients and sees their income slipping through their fingers and cracks because they don't have a reliable sales system and follow-up. Her proven steps are, she has a formula that supports you in getting more ideal clients to say yes and yes, yes. So please welcome my guest, Debbie Hoffman. I am so excited, Debbie. Thank you for being here. This is one of the biggest challenges that I see for entrepreneurs ongoingly. Everybody resists it. Everybody needs it, but we all resist it. So let's talk about, who do you serve? What's your magic? And what makes you different than every other person out there?
Oh my God. All right. So who do I serve? First of all, thank you so much for having me. It's so wonderful to be here with you. Love being around you. So I serve heart-centered coaches, consultants, people in network marketing, really all sorts of entrepreneurs. It's not so much what they do, it's who they're being. They need to be heart-centered. They need to be conscious. They need to be energetically, I just feel a connection to them. They're not salesy, pushy, aggressive people. Yes. So I work with financial advisors because of my Wall Street background. They love working with me because I really get their business. Right. I work with realtors. I work with all sorts of, but they're all heart-centered. They all are on a mission to make a difference in the world. And it's the way they show up that really, is what it's all about.
Yes. Juicy, juicy. And then, so what makes you different? Is it the uniqueness that you're not pushy? You're not doing manipulation strategies?
Right.
I always tell clients you can use this power for evil or for good.
Right. All right. So what makes me unique is I am teaching a heart-centered sales and follow-up system. It's not about being salesy and pushy and aggressive. And it's not all about being attached to your agenda, what you want to have happen. It's not about you being attached to your results. It's seeing how you can show up in service to people, see how you support people. And when you look for those JV partners or power partners and you connect with them and you start collaborating and doing stuff for them and helping them and referring people to them and, supporting them in whatever way they need, that's where the relationships get created, the trust, and that's where the referrals and the ideal clients start coming in.
Right.
So it's really not that salesy, pushy, aggressive approach just doesn't work anymore.
So why are you so passionate about this, and why'd you pick that niche? Because it is a niche, right? There's definitely a niche. You're very honed in, which is awesome.
Yeah. So follow up and sales. There's a lot of sales coaches out there, and I really, teach people the whole sales process, but a lot of sales coaches don't teach the follow up, which is an integral part of the sales process. So what happened was I was working on Wall Street, super, super successful there, decided to retire early and be a mom, be at home with my family. And during that time, my husband's business, he was a high-end custom home builder in the California, San Francisco Bay Area. Yeah. And when the market crashed, we, totally wiped us out. We lost our home. We lost all of the properties. We went into a bankruptcy foreclosure. It was just a nightmare. And I was going out networking at the time and trying to hide what had happened and not realizing that the desperate energy was coming through. And Susie, I'll never forget, I walked into this networking event and I started walking over to some women who I knew, and they actually turned around and walked the other way. And I was like, what is going on here? And I realized I had like that aha moment that what I learned on Wall Street worked really well there. I was paid so well to be salesy, aggressive, assertive, relentless. But in the in the entrepreneurial world, it wasn't working. And I just realized I needed to show up in service, let go of my agenda, let go of the attachment to the results, have fun, see how I can help people. And everything turned around. And I went from 0 to 6 figures in 14 months with a brand new coaching business. So the reason I'm so passionate about this, Susie, is because a couple things. One is I came this close to getting a job and selling out on my dream. And I never want anyone to have to choose between money and their happiness. And people are so good at what they do. Most people are like really genius at what they do, and they can really help people, but they don't know how to get those people to the point where they sign up to work with them and then they could help them. And so all, like you were saying, the sales and follow piece, people suck at, like they just struggle with. And that's what breaks my heart, because I don't want people to say, if I don't get this business going quickly, I'm going to have to go back to a job. Like that would break my heart. So that's why I'm really passionate about this. The reason I chose this niche, I didn't really choose it. A woman who I was following up with my health and wellness business prior to being a coach called me one day and said, "You're amazing at follow-up. You need to share your system with me." And I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Your what system? Do I have a system?
I didn't know I had a system. 14 months I followed up with her and she finally became a client. So we had a conversation and she said, "You have got to do something with this. You are brilliant at it. People are struggling with this. You have a gift and you need to share it." And that's how it happened. Like I seriously wasn't looking for this.
Girl, we're soul sisters. I lost everything too. So I know, I feel that pain. It was like, oh, I felt the knife with you. Right.
It
And
was
I
so
think it
exciting.
teaches you different lessons. What was the biggest lesson you learned in that?
Not to be, I was young and making a lot of money, and I was just, I wasn't careful, cautious enough. I was taking too many risks,
Yeah.
I think, and that's it. It's like now, especially as I've been I'm older, it's really just about being more conservative, and being more mindful and making decisions more carefully.
Yeah. Well, I think when you're young, you do take more risks, right? That's the financial strategy. Like you're young, you've got many years, and I think I was 45 when it happened. I'm like, I don't have 20 years to amass this. Like I have to be more conservative. All the frivolous spending, like you stopped. It was,
Right.
what do I need to do? How do I rebuild this? The great thing is when you build it once, you can do it again.
Yes, you
Not
just shared.
such a huge learning curve because you've already done it, right?
Exactly. You just shared something that really resonated, and it is something that I learned as well. I was such a spender.
Hmm.
When you were talking about spending frivolously, like at 21, I was making $500,000 in the 80s. That was a
Right.
lot of money, a
Yeah.
lot of money. And I just bought whatever I want. I did whatever I did. I mean, I had my 401k through my company, my Wall Street company, but I could have saved a crap load more money than I did.
Right.
And so that's what I've learned is, just I don't need all this stuff.
Right.
Stuff is not going to make me happy. Right. And I need to just be more mindful of saving for my retirement.
Right. Hopefully you hear that, right? But I find sometimes you have to go through that and get all the things and realize there's still an emptiness or there's still more things to buy or I just had a birthday and my man's like, "Well, what do you want?" I'm like, "Nothing." I mean, we pretty much have whatever we need. I don't need anything or want anything. And that's a good place to be in, right? It's also like I don't know, like I want to invest more. I want to buy another piece of property. I want to those are the
Right.
kind of things that excite me now.
Yeah. Yeah. Things change. Yeah. We
Definitely change.
definitely
So
change.
the biggest challenges you see with entrepreneurs that struggling in sales and follow-ups, what is that?
I've narrowed it down to like 4 key challenges. There are tons of them, but these are the 4 ones I hear most, a lot. One is people tell me they're not prepared, like they just wing it, like they're not prepared before a sales conversation or networking event or meeting with a potential partner, like they just wing it. The second is that they don't have systems in place to keep track of their business, like they have notes all over the place or spreadsheets or pieces of paper. The third is that they're not consistently asking their clients for referrals, and they're sitting on a gold mine. And then the fourth is that most entrepreneurs, especially when they're new or they've been doing it for just a few years, they're doing everything on their own. They're not leveraging the power of creating JV partner relationships or power partner relationships, like they're doing their business solo.
Right.
Those are the four key ones.
Let's drill down just a little bit or unpack those. So that first one, not being prepared or winging it. What would you say that what's the essential that I have to have ready?
Okay. So there's so many parts, stages in your business that you need to be prepared, but I'll share one that I see is like, oh my God, it's one of those big ones. Um, Preparing before you network. So I find that a lot of people go to networking events unprepared with what they're going to say when people ask what they do. And so
Right.
what happens is they hose them down with too much information and people are backing off and like, oh, like get me out of here. Like this happened to me all the time when I was networking in person.
Right.
So, and then they also go with an intention. I wouldn't say a wrong intention. I would say an intention that's not as effective. They go looking for clients and to try to sell their stuff. So, I work with my clients to create a very powerful message so that when people ask what they do, that they're actually leaning in and saying, how do you do that? Or tell me more. Like they actually want to know more about what you have to offer. So instead of being repelled, it's compelling,
Hmm.
right? And then to look for partners when you network. Don't look for clients, look for people you can partner up with because you'll end up getting so many more clients when you have that approach. So those are two ways to prepare for networking. In terms of preparing, like for a discovery session or enrollment conversation, I was working with a client and she didn't have a process in place. She just, whatever question came to mind, she would ask. Like she had no roadmap. She's like, oh, whatever. And her conversion was very low. So I helped to prepare with a step-by-step process of what to say, how to then transition into inviting people to work with you. And the next week, she had 2 enrollment conversations, and both women signed up to work with her. And she brought in like $14,000 from 2 sessions. So her conversion now has gone through the roof. So those are like 2 areas where people really need to focus on being prepared.
Yeah, I use a script. I mean, I've been using the
Yeah,
same script for 20 years. And even though I know the script, I still have to pull it up because
me too.
I'm a coach and I'm going to start coaching you. I haven't earned the right to coach yet. I got to be quiet. I'll coach you until you sign up for a program.
Right, right.
And people think I don't want to use a script. It works. It works. Been using it
Totally
so
works.
long to just go keep me focused, keep me focused, keep me
Yeah.
focused.
So it's not like you're being robotic and reading something. It's just you got the next question. Okay, this is the next thing to ask. Good. This is how I transition into the next part. This is how I transition into, making the invitation. Like it's just a roadmap.
Yes, delicious. Okay, so let's talk about the next one. So the no systems. What's the most important system they have to have? I know they need them all, but
They
if
need
there's
them all. The most important is a CRM, a customer relationship management system. And it's amazing to me, Susie, whenever I speak, like the majority of people don't have one. And I'm like, how have you even gotten to where you've gotten, in your
right,
business? How have you even achieved the success? In spite of themselves, they've achieved some success. But as your business grows, it's just impossible to keep track of all these people in your head or have these Excel spreadsheets or notebook pads or slips of paper. Like you can't do business that way. You'll be, it's very inefficient.
and do you have a favorite one for sales?
So people always ask me that. And it depends on where people are at. If somebody's like super brand new and they just need a CRM, they don't need an email marketing system. And I have all these on my website under my resources tab. There's one called Less Annoying CRM. It's super affordable and easier to use. And then for people who are further along, but they're not where we are yet, but they need the email marketing system and the CRM. Active Campaign has worked really, really well. And I have links for all those things on my resources tab. But there's lots of them that I vetted, and it's different for everybody.
Right. So it's really a custom solution
Very
depending.
custom.
Okay.
Everybody's got different needs and different things that they're going to use it for.
I would say number three is one of our magic spots. We have 40%, three and four, right, is one of the things we leverage. One of our 40% of our new business comes from referrals, right? So we do
Wow.
referral campaigns. We're always asking, for events and for students. And so let's talk about that as a hack. What's your hack for us to follow?
Okay. The hack is, well, first of all, people aren't asking for several reasons. I've heard they don't want to be pushy. I've already gotten this person to become a client. Now I'm going to ask them for a referral, or they don't want to come across desperate. Those are two key issues. So I want to help you all your listeners, all your community have a mindset shift around asking for referrals. And then I'll share the hack. Your clients love to give you referrals. If you provide great service or great product and they've gotten benefit from it, they'll feel so good to refer their friend or colleague to you who also will get great results, right? So it's a win-win-win. You have a new client, they feel good that they've referred somebody, and then your new client is benefiting. So we just need to know how to ask, when to ask, and how to train our clients what to say on our behalf and how to actually give us the referral. So I'll just focus on one of these. It's all of those are important, but the referral language. So I don't know about you, Susie, but when someone wants me to refer someone to them, I don't have time to just type up an introduction. Like, I don't know what to say about them. So I have a template that I give to my clients that they create their referral language to give to their clients and to their partners. Super short and sweet. And then I recommend that they keep a Google folder called referral partner language, and then a document for each of their partners. And then they just copy and paste, add whatever it is personally that they admire and, really enjoy about that person. And then off it goes. So
Yeah.
you'll all get so many more referrals if you give people the language, because they're not going to do it on their own. Or if they do, it's not going to be as powerful as what you would say, because no one knows what you do better than you and can explain it better than you.
Right. And we're just trying to get through it. Like I told Debbie I'd do this, let me just do it. And then it's wah wah.
Right. Aw.
Not as sexy as it could be.
Yeah.
So I love that it's make it easy, right? Turnkey, make it easy, make it easy. Quit making me work for your business, right?
Yeah, make it easy for people. And then my clients are getting so many more referrals. I have one client, because of the entire referral strategy I shared with her. She has one referral partner that last year referred $100,000 in business. And
Wow.
she wasn't even like sending out emails and promoting launches or anything like this. My client is she does hypnotherapy and life coaching and energy work. And it was just people referring the old fashioned way. So
Not
that's pretty
powerful.
darn good.
That is powerful. Okay,
Yeah.
number four, which is I love this one, right? Because I paid a partner $250,000 when I launched this brand. It was my first affiliate, my first experience with affiliates. So that was awesome. So the
Wow.
funny thing is, I wrote her a check over the year's time, right? It was $250,000, and something in her head was like, I want that $250,000. I'm like, dude, you didn't have to do any work for that. That was a love check. So funny people are, right? But it works. And so let's talk about joint ventures. Let's talk about the importance of that. What can you share
Yeah.
with us?
So, gosh, it is so much easier when you partner up with people who you really like and there's good energy between you, who have similar clients as you, but they're not in competition with you, who can promote what you do either through email, which is one way. And I know, email open rates have dropped and a lot of people are not looking at their emails, but it still works. But also what I've created is something very unique that I'm teaching to my clients, which is a list build interview swap process, where instead of just hopping on Facebook Live and interviewing each other and you don't even know who's listening, we actually uh, create a system where they get onto your list, and then you can follow up with these people, and then they're there with you on Zoom. So they're asking you questions and they're connecting. So it's just a really great way to create great partnerships and help your JV partner, and they're helping you and you're having fun doing it. And so you'll have so many more clients that you love to work with showing up. Your list will grow with more ideal clients, it's not about the numbers of your list, it's the quality. Are they your ideal clients? Are they even listening to what are they even ready for what you're offering? Right? So that's just been a fabulous strategy. I love it. I've been doing it for a few years now. And with one, interview, I was doing like a beta for my profitable networking formula, and 5 people signed up for it from this interview on the spot. And then one person went on to work with me one-on-one. So all in all, I brought in like 14,000 or something like that from one interview.
Right.
So,
That's
right.
a great way to monetize, right? Don't just do the interview. Let's monetize the interviews, right? We're spending our time.
Right.
So
Right.
great.
People are just doing all these interviews and nothing's coming from them because they have
Right.
nobody to follow up with and nobody's showing up and nobody's there with you. And people are craving connection. They're craving to get to know that they want to know that you care about them and that you're interested in them. And when you connect and they ask questions and you communicating and interacting with them, it builds that connection. Plus, your JV partner, you have instant credibility because your JV partner has invited you into their community to interview you. So instant trust, instant credibility, and you're way further up, along in this process of people saying yes to working with you when you do it that way. Emails are definitely important, but they're just a lot more impersonal. So you
Right.
have to do both,
Yeah.
So people are trying to build their business on their own, and it's just way too hard and too frustrating, and it's overwhelming. It's exhausting.
Well, and as a
So
lonelypreneur, right? I feel like I'm a lonelypreneur. Like nobody cares. It's just me. And but now I got to talk to Debbie. I'm like, oh, okay, Debbie and I are aligned, right? We have the same mission. Right?
yeah,
Entrepreneurs, different niches, but same mission. So it's much more fun. It's
right.
funner.
It's funner. It's funner. I have one client who I've been working with one-on-one. She does diversity training for companies, and then she also does works with women who are transitioning out of corporate into their own business. And she was doing webinars and just inviting people from her list. And we talked about this whole concept. We created a strategy, and she had a launch, and she had her JV partners promoting for her. And all these people showed up to her webinar. She said it was so much easier. I didn't have to
Right.
work so hard. I met all these new people who became clients. And so, yeah, we need to be partnering up. And if you're not ready for the JV partner, world, don't worry about it. If you're a power partner and you're not going to be sending out emails and doing massive promotion for people, that's okay. You can still refer people back and forth to each other, kind of in a one-off old-fashioned way. Not old-fashioned, but the typical way. So I don't want people to feel threatened, like, oh my gosh, I'm not ready to be have JV partners. Doesn't matter what level you're at. You can still support each other. You can still refer. It's just how you do it, whether you're sending out emails and promoting a launch, or if you're just supporting people kind of one off. And then when you do these interviews, again, you can do this no matter where you're at in your business. It works no matter what.
I
And it will
love.
help you grow your list if your list is small.
Well, and there's so many great trainings out there on how to joint venture, right? Start there because there is a system and you're very organized. What I love about you is your organization. So let's talk about the systems you have in place. And can you tell us what that looks like for you? Right? Because we're both little organized geeks. I wasn't always this way. I had to learn because I found my life became so much easier the more organized and the more systemic I got.
Yeah. So you're talking about just systems in general for my business or around the JV partner strategy?
I think in general around your business, right? So that you can run your business like a well-oiled machine. What have you put in place? And it might be what's the most productivity hack that you have or the thing that you use
Okay.
around that. I'm just making
Okay,
up.
so I have kind of like I would say OCD tendencies. Like when I have something that needs to get done, like I have to get it done. I don't like stuff being unfinished hanging out there. I just don't like the way it feels. So I prioritize like what needs to be done first. So I'm creating this whole new workshop. And so, okay, what do I need to do first? When does it need to be done by? So just really out, and then not getting distracted by emails or text messages. Just I make an appointment with myself in my calendar, work on workshop, and I just do it. I'm not doing anything else during that time because so that's like the best productivity hack is make an appointment with yourself, put it in your calendar, just like you put in your calendar an appointment with a client or a potential client. Don't let anything get in the way and just do what you said you were going to do during that time. And you'll just be much more effective and productive. And don't be checking emails a gazillion times a day. It's just pick a few, maybe morning, afternoon, and evening before you finish your day to check emails. I struggle with that. I
People
really
get so
do.
distracted, right? It's like ding. If they have the dinger on when it comes in, turn the dinger off.
Turn the dinger off.
Turn the dinger
I
off.
do not have a dinger on. And Yeah. So just whatever, you just need to prioritize what needs to be done first and create that timeline and then stick to it.
So I know in business is a roller coaster, right? And so many entrepreneurs in our community are struggling because of COVID, the economy. Is there going to be a war? There's food shortage. Like there's so much, negativity all around them. So what would you say your secret sauce in this whole period? Like if you look at the last 3 years, we've all had to pivot our businesses, and the business that have thrived and survived are the ones that pivoted quickly, right? That said, oh, we got to do business different. So, what would you say? What's been your strategy to grow and stay in action?
Well, fortunately, my business was an online business, so I didn't have to pivot much at all. But my whole strategy has been not to, I don't listen to the news. I don't read stuff. I don't listen to stuff. I have certain other alternative news sources where it's not all this negativity. And I'm just focused on what I want to create. Because whatever you put your attention to, you will create. Whatever you think about, you will become and you will create. If you're worried about something, that thing will be drawn to you and you'll create that thing that you're worried about creating. Right. So I've been keeping my thoughts on a very short leash. And when I notice something happening, I put something else I put something positive in place. And I'm just really focused on what I want to create, the impact I want to make. And I'm just not listening to all that stuff. We
Right.
have to just be positive because it brings us down. It's that negative stuff and all the COVID stuff. It's just like all this. So I'm not getting COVID, like I'm not getting sick. Like I'm just putting out there. I'm not worried that I'm going to get it. I'm actually saying that I'm healthy. I'm taking really good care of myself and I'm not going to get sick. So yeah, it's the fear we need to stay away from the fear. The fear is what brings us down. And I don't go into fear. I go into creating possibility. What's possible for me in my life? What do I want to live into?
Juicy, juicy, juicy. Okay, so let's look back in your career. You've had an amazing career starting in investment banking, now doing this. What would you say has been your biggest, some people call them failures, I call them learning lessons. What's been the biggest learning lesson, or you can call it failure if that gives you the context? And then what did you learn from it?
Well, I think the biggest thing was losing our home 10 years ago and the bankruptcy. Like that was just devastating and humiliating and mortifying. And I realized that I made a lot of mistakes. You know, I I owned an apartment building that we sold to upgrade to a bigger one. And then the earthquake hit and the building got damaged and we never brought in the rents we were supposed to bring in. And I ended up selling it at a huge loss. And they took the money out of my 401k. Like so many mistakes. And what I've learned is just not to rush into deciding things, to really do my research and to be more buttoned up.
Yeah,
Because when I look back, it's like, wow, I can't believe I did that.
right.
And so it's really, again, just taking time, talking to experts, getting people's opinions, not trying to, I'm like a very independent person. I make my decisions on my own, but now I'm just leaning on other people who are experts in different areas to support me and getting the coaching support. That's what I really learned is if you're a lone ranger and trying to do stuff on your own, it's going to be a lot harder to succeed in business. So I have coaches all the time that support me.
Right. Do your due diligence, right? So find
Do
out
your due diligence.
people that talk the talk but don't walk the talk. So just because we refer them, you got to do your own due diligence because it can come back to hit you in the face. I have one
Totally.
client that I'll refer amazing people to, and then every single time she has a challenge with them, and she's like, "Well, do you have a referral for this person?" I'm like, "No." Every time I refer someone, you don't like them. There's a theme.
There's a theme. The other thing too, a big lesson, big learning, and this is something I've been working on for years. I was so in my head, coming more from that masculine because of Wall Street. And now I tap into my intuition. I tap into my higher source, power, whatever you call it, God, the universe, whatever, I tap into that to help me to get the answers. Instead of making the decisions from my head all the time, I get into my body, I get quiet, I meditate, and I ask. And it has kept me from making a lot of bad decisions.
Yeah. But we learn, right? That's why we're seasoned. That's where the wisdom comes from, girl. That's where the
I
wisdom
know.
comes from. And we don't make the same mistakes. So when you look back now in building your wealth, what would you do differently?
Wow.
Or what have you done differently from that pivot, right? Because that's a pivot.
Gosh, what would I do differently? I think we've already talked about it. I think I would just be more conservative, more cautious, less risk adverse, and to I wasn't thinking enough about the future and my retirement. I was just living more in that moment. And
Yes.
so a lot of the spending and a lot of the investing and a lot of the things that I did that where I made mistakes was because I didn't plan enough for the future. And like the last 10 years since losing everything, I've been diligent at every single penny that I can is going into, my emergency fund and into retirement. So that, because, I want to be comfortable when I
Right.
retire.
We don't want to work this hard and then have to, work at Walmart. Like you see those people have to work there and it's like, oh, I don't want to be that.
Oh, I know. Right. Right.
So, what I love most about the way you lead is you do assessments, right? And I know you have an assessment for our listeners. So, let's talk about the assessment, what it is, why should I take it? Because, you tell me. I'm
Okay.
excited. I love
I am
assessments.
I am so like this is a gift for your community that I just it's so powerful. So it's my Power Up Biz Quiz. And in like less than 10 minutes, you're gonna get really clear on those areas of sales and follow-up where you're doing really well. And you want to celebrate those. It's like, woohoo, like I'm doing well in these areas. And then you'll see those areas where you're sabotaging your success. And it will help you to focus your energy and efforts and attention on those areas, whether you work with Susie or me or whoever you work with, but you'll know what you need to work on. And whenever I talk to anyone who's taken this assessment, they say to me, oh my God, I had no idea. Because there's all these things that we don't know, right?
Right.
And just so when they take it, it's like, wow, really need to focus on this area and this area and this area. And then once you take the assessment, you will get the results. And then you'll also get another gift from me, which is 4 secrets to power up your sales without being salesy. So great tips to kind of just, supercharge your business. So you'll get 2 gifts, 2 in 1, basically.
2 in 1. First of all, we love prizes. I just want you to know that you are speaking our love language right now.
The gifts, I love giving gifts. But the
Yeah.
assessment, definitely take the assessment. And then if you want to go over the results, you will have an opportunity to do that, to get on my calendar and we can chat and go through it together, because it's an eye opener. Like seriously. Yeah. I mean, we all need a coach. We all need someone who has that 30,000-foot view that can see things that we can't see. And this assessment is like that first step for you. Like if you're personally, analyzing, assessing yourself
Yeah.
on where you think you are. So it's going to be very glaring, like, oh, I got to focus on this area.
Well, I think what's powerful, what I love about assessments is you're not telling us who we are. We're telling on ourselves
Right.
to go, here's my blind spot. And now you've earned the right to go, oh, here's how I can help you. Where a lot of coaches come in, I'll do this, but I don't need that. Like they're not taking the time to really find what your area of improvement can be. So I love that. You come saying, let's look at where you are. And what I love about you, Debbie, is you're not selling, you're serving. If it's not a fit, it's not a fit. You're okay to say no just as much as you're okay to say yes.
Totally.
The conversation to go over the assessment isn't to sell you, it's to serve you, to walk you through what do you see in it. I can see what I see, but the what do you see in it, because you've done this thousands of times with customers all over the world, right? And that
Right.
has power in it.
So powerful. Yep.
So let's do this at the close. What would you say that you want to be remembered for?
I want to be remembered for being a really caring, loving friend, mother, sister, and coach. That
Mm,
people remember me as somebody who is really wanting to make a difference in their lives.
And I can say that because I know you. I really feel that way about you.
Thanks. I'm getting
So,
all teary. I don't know why.
it's your passion. It's who you are,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
And we see you. I see you, right? You've got a big heart and a big mission. And I just want to say thank you for joining us today. Thank you for being vulnerable, sharing your truth so we can see that it doesn't matter where you are on the journey. We all have the high highs and the low lows. It's, are you willing to get back up again when you go into the low? And more importantly, are you willing to grab somebody's hand with you to get back up?
Exactly. Well,
Right?
beautifully said. Thank you so much for having me here, Susie. This was so fun and such an honor to be here. So thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. So you can follow Debbie on all social platforms. What's your social media handles, Debbie?
Well, I gave them to they're the Debbie A. Hoffman. They're different on each one of them, but
Okay, so we'll put them in
yeah,
the notes. She's like, I don't
yeah.
know, I'm out there, I'm everywhere. And we'll put the URL in the notes, in the show notes, so you have them. And remember, you're in business for yourself, not by yourself. I'm Susie Carder, and Debbie Hoffman is my guest today. So if you love this episode, please share it with someone that needs it. Someone needs Debbie today. And so whoever came on your heart, whoever you thought about, yourself and your community, reach out to Debbie. She's so generous. She'd love to support you and your community. So don't try to do this alone, right? Once you get a system, your world changes around sales. And so I invite you to reach out to Debbie. I invite you to go follow her on her social media so she can keep pouring into you. And we look forward to hearing you, seeing you, and helping you win in the domain of sales and profitability.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Power Your Profits podcast. Let these building blocks from today's most successful industry leaders equip you with the necessary resources and tools to finally establish the highly profitable business of your dreams. Want to hear more? Listen to more episodes at https://poweryourprofitspodcast.com. And don't forget to subscribe to the show. Now is your time to rise to the top of your game, so be sure to catch our next episode. Until next time.